Hi everybody, this is Rossie Hutchinson of the Rossie Crafts blog and Instagram, and I run a Patreon, which I've done for the last 18 months, where people pay a small subscription fee and they gain access to exclusive content on this website, Patreon. I have had so much fun sharing quilts on Patreon for the last 18 months. My particular favorites have been this one, which is based on a tile pattern, and you can see it's red combined with pink. And so this was 1 month what I released. This is another favorite of mine. This is based on a rug that I saw. I call this prongs, and I want to come back to this and make so many more versions of it. But these projects are standalone projects. So this was 1 month, this was a different month. And so I've been making a quilt every month or two for the length of time that I've had this Patreon going. I want to work differently next year. In 2022, I want to focus on creating block patterns, 1 or 2 a month, that can work together in a variety of quilts. So whereas in the last couple years, I've presented standalone projects each month, over the next year, I'll be developing and sharing blocks that are intended to go together into a single quilt. And I'm hoping that people will follow along and also make 1 or 2 quilts using these blocks. I would give multiple sizes for the construction of the blocks so that people can design their own quilts using the blocks, and if they need a 5-inch or a 6-inch finish, that calculation is all done for them and it's ready. A huge inspiration for me in doing this is the book Make Your Own Medallion by Erin Harris. She has 30-some different blocks in this book, and you design your own medallion quilt using them. And what I'm hoping to do this year is add another 20 or so to those blocks that Erin has already drafted for us, and just to empower us all to make more and more quilts with more and more variety and interest. I did email Erin about my project before I went too far into planning it, and she had no issue with me picking up where she left off. She may even come in at a certain point and share a new block pattern or 2. I do heartily recommend that you get her book so that you can combine the blocks that she has patterned with the ones that I'll be offering to my patrons this year. So medallion quilts are awesome, but that's not the only place that I think these blocks will belong. I think they can also be combined in other ways. So while you may very well want to make a medallion quilt, I think I will be doing probably 2 quilts this year. One will definitely be a medallion quilt. And here's an image of the one I made starting in 2019 from using Erin's book. So a medallion quilt. These blocks work beautifully in a medallion quilt. But you might also want to try a sampler quilt. Here's an image from the Fussy Cut Sampler by Nicole Ramirez and Elizabeth Wu. So you can see these are all different blocks, and they're just set in a grid. I'm really intrigued. This is probably going to be my second quilt, intrigued to try a row by row quilt with these blocks. So here are images from 2 quilts. These were made by Dory Blaisdell, who you may know as Tumbling Blocks online. I think it's also worth thinking about combining different blocks into something like The Wanderer's Wife. This is a pattern by Jen Kingwell. If we look here, it's basically these blocks are floating in negative space, and in the gaps between and below them, there's all these vertical strips of fabric. So you could do this, especially if you have a design wall at your disposal. This could be easily done improvisationally. These are just the ideas I have at this time, and I'm hoping it's not seeming overwhelming. I'm hoping it seems exciting. Because there's no reason to feel overwhelmed. Part of what I love about Erin's book is that you build the medallion quilts from the center out. You make the center of the quilt, and then you look at it, on the design wall, on the bed, wherever you have to look at it. And then you decide what comes next. And then you make that what comes next and attach it and look again and decide what comes next after that. So you do not design the whole thing ahead of time. You can sketch some ideas out, of course, if you have a vision for where you want to go. But you really, it's totally fine to have no idea where you're headed. And there are very, very good reasons for not, cutting ahead, because you can get into trouble doing that. As you'll find out if you read her book, and I'm gonna probably review some main points as we proceed. So, I hope you guys are excited to see what I'll be up to this year. If you would like to join the Patreon, anybody is welcome to join. It's $3 a month. That's what most people join at. You can pay more if you would like. It basically keeps the lights on in my studio, and it keeps the fabric flowing in my studio. So join in. If you are going to join in, a few words about fabric. So I just, in the last couple years, have been really interested in pairing a red with a pink, with a very pale pink, a dark purple with a medium purple with a pale purple. And that's where I'm going to start with my medallion when I begin my project, is with these fabrics where it's just a monochrome gradient within the block. It's going to change across the quilt, but within the block, just slight variations. And I had not looked at Dory's row by row quilts for probably a couple years when I pulled it up, because I knew that was an inspiration for me, and I see that that's a lot of what she's doing as well. So that's kind of what I'm talking about there. But you can see it also in my recent work here and here. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. I'm around, not always able to answer in the moment, but usually within a day or two. And let's hope for a fun and creative 2022. Bye.